HyperNet Current is the latest strike added to D2, and today we'll be talking about the Grandmaster Nightfall variant to help everyone get familiar with the mechanics, as well as some big tips to make your life much easier and save you a ton of time on your GM clear. First, let's talk about character builds. Warlocks, absolutely nothing's changed. You're still stuck running Well of Radiance and wearing a Glad trash bag on your chest piece to throw pocket nukes. Titans, the overwhelming favorite for you this season is Strand. Berserker's constant ability to keep Woven Mail up and tank hits while also being able to suspend whatever you want, whenever you want, will serve you very well, especially in the boss room. Hunters, while Strand is not a bad pick by any means, I'd recommend running Night Stalker instead for a few reasons. First, there's several spots in the Nightfall where you can drop an Anchor Tether to clear full groups of enemies, including in the boss room. And second, your dodge invisibility allows you to break aggro from Axion darts, which are incredibly annoying in this Nightfall from both Centurions and the boss during the second phase of the boss fight. Moving on to weapons, usually I'd like to say there's no such thing as a mandatory weapon going into a GM. However, I'm going to make one exception here. This isn't a true mandatory pick. You're not going to auto-wipe if you don't bring this weapon. However, you're going to want to bring it if you don't want to waste 5+ minutes of your life fighting a giant bullet sponge. The weapon I'm referring to here is Divinity. The reason I bring it up is because this GM has a boss-level Tormentor in it, and fighting him with standard precision weapons, or god forbid something like a rocket launcher, will make you sit there plucking away at his health bar for an hour. However, there is a very simple and ammo-efficient strategy you can do here to get rid of him in a matter of seconds. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Otherwise, you can bring virtually any other weapon into this GM that you like, as long as your team is covering the Overload and Unstoppable Champion stuns. Okay, let's head over to the Shrike now and get back to that Tormentor. So as you all know, the Shrike begins plowing through some Cabal and Minotaurs. The Minotaurs in this section are Special Edition Deluxe Minotaurs, and will drop you a powerful Cranium upon being killed. It's important here that you do not use the Craniums, but rather save them. Clear out the opening Cabal and their turrets, and then each grab a Cranium and start heading upward. Do not waste the ammo on the Craniums. After a few steps, you'll hit the arena where more Cabal will meet you, and eventually the Tormentor himself. Important note here, you can drop the Craniums temporarily to fight using your weapons, but make sure you don't leave them on the ground too long, and hold on to them for a few seconds when you do pick them up to ensure that they do not despawn. For this area, your goal is to capture the top right side of the arena with a well-placed super, or just a straight-up well, and then weed out the Cabal to make the Tormentor show up. Once he has, this is the part where Divinity comes in. In combination between Divinity and the 2+ Craniums that you've brought with you, you will absolutely shred the Tormentor's health way down like you're fighting a patrol drag. You can choose to outright kill him immediately and just not bother. However, if you like to get plat in this GM, you're going to want to kill the Unstoppable Champion first before downing the Tormentor. Otherwise, the Unstop will despawn. The next section we're going to be talking about is the pre-Sparrow room. This is where you're tasked with beating up a bunch of Scions, as well as 3 Minotaurs and many Taken Blights. Much like the opening room with the Shrike, defeat all the Minotaurs, but do not use up all the Craniums. Ideally, you want to have one player use a single Cranium to take out most of the Blights, but be sure to still keep some ammo in your Cranium while keeping the other 2 Craniums on the ground the entire time. The reason for this is to ensure that once you've cleared out the entire room and the Cranium player starts heading towards the lift for the Sparrow section, the game will despawn 2 Craniums. However, it should leave 1 remaining Cranium on the ground for you to pick up. Once you pick it up, go back up the lift, and once you've arrived at the very top, you'll see the Nova Bomb Blights in the sky that are usually surrounding you while you're on the Sparrow section. By killing any of these Blights in the sky with the Cranium, you will despawn all of them and make the Sparrow section essentially free. You will now just have a relaxing drive down memory lane as you run over and murder several Taken Thrall along your path until you get to the exit with no Blights to try to blow you up your Sparrow. Skipping a bit forward here, let's talk about the pre-boss room, the one with more Blights in the sky. This arena, you're once again tasked with killing Special Edition Deluxe Minotaurs in order to get Craniums, nothing new, which are then used to down the Blights all around you in the arena, except this time you're surrounded by 2 Overload Champions, some trash mobs, and eventually 3 Yellow Bar Ogres that will spawn in. Use the same plan as last time, defeat all the Minotaurs, and only use 1 Cranium to gradually get rid of most of the Blights until you only have 1 remaining. Then use a well-placed well, weird to say that, or just a regular super, to clear out most of the trash mobs, and then eventually take out the Overload/Ogres. Once you've done that, and the Craniums are still on the ground, kill that last Blight in the sky with your Cranium, and then be sure to pick up a Cranium each as you're heading up the lift towards the boss room. Now, if you haven't already noticed, these Vex Craniums hit like a freight train and give you a lot of free damage to output in the boss room. You can choose to do this straight to the boss for max damage. However, I'd recommend that you first use the Cranium energy to take out any Centurions at the beginning of the fight. There should be 4 totals that spawn in 2 on the left side and 2 on the right side that you should take out immediately, so you don't have to worry about any sneaky Axion darts killing you through a wall. After that, the Unstoppable Champion is taken care of, and after that, you can start doing boss damage safely. Once you've taken 1 bar off the boss's health, he will lock up and then turn immune. At this point, you'll have Blights and Taken Thrall spawning around you in the arena on the bottom floor, as well as Vex Goblins and Minotaurs spawning on top. Your best course of action here is to hop up top, preferably with a well, and try to take out as many Vex as you can as fast as possible. Again, the Craniums do a ton of damage here, so you're only going to want to use 1 Cranium to take out most of the Blights, and then leave the rest for damage purposes. After taking out all the Blights and dropping the boss's shield, he will teleport to the back of the arena, or maybe the front, depending if you're an Oryx weirdo. And now the boss will turn into an Axion Dart slot machine. Additionally, an Overload Champion will spawn to the right side of the arena, and, well, if you want to attempt to spawn kill it, there's one big note I have to tell you. Do not, under any circumstances, ever stand near the right side walls by this Overload spawn. Ever. Why, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Because if you die, the game will give you the middle finger and then bury your ghost under the map where your team cannot revive you. I'm not kidding. That actually happens. You will not get revived for the rest of the Nightfall. Yeah, great. Once the boss is down to the last 1/3 on its health bar, it'll teleport to the opposite side of the arena to float in the air this time. The top portion of the arena does not change. It spawns more Vex and Minotaurs. However, the bottom half now spawns in Thrall, Scions, and Champions. It's important to try to keep ad control here, as multiplying Scions can get out of hand very quickly, and actually it might end your run if you don't watch it. If you have to do it, use a Cranium to try to eliminate all the Scions as fast as you can. Otherwise, focus on the Champions that'll be pushing you. Once you have all the enemies down, surprisingly, this is kind of the end of the strike in terms of enemy spawns. You just kind of fight the boss the last 33%, and then he dies, and then you win. So at this point, you just kind of have to nuke the boss down without standing still together in a circle to not get triple killed by a Phantom Nova Bomb, and that's essentially it. It's kind of a flat ending to a boss fight, but hey, easy for you guys, right? So that concludes the HyperNet current GM Strike guide. Overall, the Strike is pretty fun, I would say, once you're done with the Minotaur. As long as you're using Div, that won't be very hard. And throughout, after that, it's very manageable once you know all these little tidbits and details. Hopefully this guide will help you, and if you enjoyed the video, like, share, subscribe. It does help the channel. Much appreciated, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.